Hello and welcome to the March report. I should apologise for any noise you might hear in the background. We're actually having our bathroom replaced this week, so it's been a little bit noisy and a bit interesting. And necessary trips are 20 minutes long because we have to go down to Tesco's if we need to do any kind of business whilst the guys are working. So it has been an interesting week so far. So the last project I made was my secret book. I think that this colour comes out a lot better in this light than it did in the other photos. So I've made a key to go with it. It looks redundant, but it certainly works. So slide through, release the key. Come on. Oh, look, there we go. It's being on camera, it's a shy key. There you go. So on key release. This side here is still a little bit dodgy. I don't think I made the slider quite big enough, or didn't cut the notch quite deep enough. So that goes that way. This one goes that way and reveals the key hole. And this is where the key comes in, because most people have got fat fingers, and I definitely have fat fingers, and I can't get into there with just that key, so it's too short. So this key, back end comes off, and there's a notch. You can see that notch in there. So the key slips into this notch. And that kind of extends your hand. And then key. Open box. Et voila. One box. I've still got the spare key in there, which is not the best idea. In terms of a project, that was quite an enjoyable one. So I've probably got to work on something a bit more, a bit more finesse with the key. But I haven't decided whether I'm going to make another one of these yet, so something to think about. But as a project, I quite like it. It does kind of what I was planning. So yeah, the back cover was a little bit kind of wrinkly. The veneer had a wrinkle to it before I glued it, and it seems to have kind of settled down. I think because I've left it on that surface for a while, it's not as bad as it was. So yeah, that's that one done. And hopefully today I should get on my video for my first actual scroll saw project of this year. So this is quite an interesting one to make. My uncle donated some supply to my kind of limited stock, and what he's given me is fairly cheap, and it's been well used before I got to it, but it works quite well for this project. So there's that one that should be out today. I've also spent some time tidying the shed the last couple of weeks, and it's become a real kind of dumping ground, so I really had to do some decent tidying, so had that done, doing that at least. It was an interesting experience because I found lots of things that I thought I'd sold or lost, and there's a huge stack of things that I don't think I'm going to use in the future that are probably going to go on eBay, so yeah, hopefully some money coming in at some point. My studies are continuing. I'm on to the 4th of 7 essays at present. I've got to do some set formats poems for creative writing, and another essay on Beat Generation and Ginsberg. So that's going to be interesting because I can't stand the Beat Generation. I haven't really liked most of these books. It's just kind of the choice you get, really. You may have noticed in my last couple of videos, my little end titles image, I've changed the website. My old website, ucni.com, has now closed. I still own the web name, but I wasn't prepared to pay upwards of £90 for a year's subscription to hosting. So I've instead changed to a blog, which is thedragonshed.blogspot.co.uk. So everything I'm doing from now on will be on there. I'm also working through last year's videos and doing some kind of backdating stuff, and I'll probably put those on at the end of the month or so, just so I've got everything down with all the patterns and all that kind of thing included. So it's been interesting in politics and in the world in general. Brexit is continuing as expected, and it shames me to hear that the Lords have been told not to cause problems. That's kind of the point of the Lords. They are not voted in. Yes, they are selected by whoever, but they are there as kind of a control on the idiots in Parliament, and they are more there for the people than the idiots in Parliament, essentially. So it's completely unfair to tell anyone not to vote with their heart, not to raise a point if they think there's a point to raise. And that's where this whole process is quite shaming, actually. We've had a number of centuries of political upheaval generally, and we are supposed to be a democracy. We're supposed to be advanced, and I can't see that in any of our politics at present. I'm not going to mention the chap across the pond, because he is what he is and I have no control over that. So I don't have much of a rant this time around. I've been staying away from the news because it just depresses me. It's so unpleasant to read about the evil things going on generally, and the things that are quietly evil, the little niggly little unpleasantnesses. And I didn't think Britain was like that. You know, at least my version of Britain was never bigoted, never really kind of, I wouldn't say it wasn't racist, because we've always been racist, because we're a colonialist country, and generally wherever the white Christians go, they cause a mess. They went to America and killed off natives and stole their land, stole everything they had, and just stuck them on reservations. They went to New Zealand and Australia and killed off the Aborigines and tried to breed them out, and you know, they're second-class citizens, even though they are the first people. They are the ones that belong. And what gets me is Britons go on about being Britain first, about not allowing anyone in, about no migrants or whatever. None of us are British, really. I'm mostly Swedish, if you go back far enough. My granddad did one of those DNA things, so we come from Myanmar and Sweden. We're Vikings, for Pete's sake. And unless you're one of those families from the very far north of Scotland or the very end of Cornwall or Wales, you can't say you're British. Not really. You're born here, but then everyone's born somewhere. But it aggravates me. It really does. There is more than enough food and work to go round. But we have all the best, and all those little colonial countries, nah, it's just not fair. Even though people say we are a more understanding, more caring country. Oh yes, because we've made a mess of the world. When we sent out all of our religious people to go and save the African children from being African children. Really? You want to ruin their entire way of life and beat them over the head with religion? That's not the way to do it. I was baptised a Christian the day I left for uni, and I'm ashamed of my faith. I really am. Not only the day I came back from uni, that first summer, the vicar, the man who had baptised me, was quoted in the newspaper, in the local newspaper, saying that he would support a rebellion in the synod if they allowed female bishops. And I'd spent most of my time in education defending faith, saying, oh no, Christianity has moved on. Christianity is no longer the racist, bigoted place it used to be. Really? So I really lost faith. I've read the Bible from cover to cover, and I can see nowhere where Christ says women are second class, where Christ says homosexuality is wrong, where Christ says treat someone different because they're a different colour to you. So, this world is supposed to be advanced in one way or another, and whether you have religion or don't, we're not there yet. Really not. Okay, so much for not having a rant today. Okay, so aside from my puzzle, which will be on today, my first gospel project, next week is the chocolate demo that I did for the Sugarcraft Guild in Ilford. It's quite a long one, and the sound isn't great, so I'm going to do a full write-up on the blog with the recipes and whatever, so that's kind of covered both sides of it. 2 Minute Skill this month is another apron. I know I keep doing them, but I promise this is the last time I'll do an apron. So this is a square or diamond pattern apron, which is a really, really easy one to do. For my project this month, I've been thinking about doing a memorial box for my great-grandmother and my grandmother, Dorothy and Daisy. And I've been thinking about doing that for the last 4 years, so I'm actually hopefully, going to be getting around to it this time around. And as there is a 5th Wednesday in March, there's going to be something else as well. I haven't quite decided what it's going to be, so we'll see what comes up, really. So that is March, and I'll see you next week.